guys, I hope you had a fantastic weekend because I am about to absolutely ruin your Monday with some of the stories that we're talking about today. There has been chaos happening in the news cycle per usual, and I'm so excited to tell you about my favorite stories that I encountered over the last week because today we are dealing with the Nepo babies and the gold diggers that are infiltrating professional sports. We are racing sperm, and Meghan Markle just can't seem to help herself. So yes, you did hear me correctly in that introduction. We have been racing sperm in the United States. Now, obviously, declining fertility, declining birth rates have been a huge topic in the media right now in the health space, and it is genuinely just being hit from all angles. Like, obviously, Big Pharma is stepping out, trying to fix this issue. The political right is issuing rallying cries. Elon Musk is just trying to repopulate the earth himself. RFK is probably about to start studying what's going on. But there is a chance that nothing will be as impactful as a group of college kids racing sperm, and that is exactly what happened last week. So a group of students put on the first ever sperm race in California to bring awareness about declining male fertility, and they raised over $1 million to the event. One article, this is from The Guardian, reads, "This live version of the sperm race elevates the concept. 2 individual sperm cells, just each 0.05 millimeters, will complete on a 20 centimeter long track engineered to replicate the biological conditions of the female reproductive system." This is getting, like, it's funny, but also I just want you to think, like, this could become our future. Like, this is the future of now we're gonna have, like, robots having babies, and it all starts with this sperm race. Anyway, the track simulates chemical signals, fluid dynamics, and synchronized launches, mirroring nature as closely as possible. Now, you might be hearing this and thinking, Brett, this sounds very dystopian, very scientific. This is so weird. Why are we interested in this? Well, we're interested in this because it's a group of college kids putting this on. So obviously, this was not some sterile, serious sperm race. There was trash talk. There was an entire audience. Just watch this clip because obviously all of that made it go viral on TikTok.
Some been saying I'm the LeBron of sperm racing.
I'm proud. It's okay.
That's all I can say.
To prove the haters wrong.
3 words to describe your sperm.
Slow, sluggish, and weak.
I'm pretty sure Tristan's talking about his own. 3, 2,
Like, guys, they're in literal, like, suits. There's animations, there's music. We're watching them race here. One has a major head start. Tristan is just blowing Asher out of the water. Asher's kind of clumping up back there. Really got a slow start. Like, guys, it's insane. And I also have to just put in there that this was a competition that went between USC and UCLA, and Tristan went to UCLA, so obviously this is a point of pride for me. My alma mater is winning sperm races right and left, which is incredibly exciting. Now, speaking of declining male fertility, we also need to talk about 74-year-old Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend Jordon Hudson, because I don't think she is dating him for his raging testosterone or peak sperm performance. Now, before we dive into that story, make sure that you like this episode and subscribe to our channel if you've not already. And of course, ring that notification bell to make sure that you stay up to date on all of our episodes. And guys, my tour is officially launching this week. We're starting in Phoenix, Arizona with a special guest. So if you've not bought tickets yet, go to brettcooper.com to get all the information. And also at brettcooper.com, you can check out Cooper Confidential, which is our subscriber-only platform with a subscriber-exclusive newsletter, ad-free episodes, and a Dear Brett video where I take your questions and concerns and we try to make sense of them together. All right, so I have been so excited to talk about this story because it is, just to put it simply, it is so insane. There are so many layers, but basically, Bill Belichick is an incredibly famous NFL football coach. He is famous for taking the Patriots, I think, to 6 Super Bowls. He was with the Patriots for years and years and years. He retired then from the Patriots and is now coaching at UNC. And he is dating a 24-year-old woman named Jordon Hudson. They allegedly met in 2021 when she was 20 years old and he was 70 years old. However, they weren't seen together until January of 2023 when they were spotted holding hands and walking around in New Orleans. And then in June of 2024, so over a year later, they finally went public with their relationship after multiple sightings of her pulling up her new Porsche to UNC to watch him at football practice. Now, this whole relationship has just caused shockwaves online and in the football community, again, because it is so weird, because it is a 50-year year age gap, and it just seemingly came out of nowhere. And to really paint a picture of how large this age gap is, you need to know that Bill Belichick was married for almost 4 decades. He was married to a woman for 40 years. He has 3 children with her, and then after they divorced, he went on and had a 16-year relationship with another woman. He never married her. They were just girlfriend and boyfriend. They broke up in September of 2023, and then he started dating 24-year-old Jordon. And yes, you heard those dates right. They were spotted together for the first time January of 2023. Then he broke up with his girlfriend September of 2023. Kind of fishy. Not going to infer too much into that. There's not a lot of details, but I think that that is just relevant information. Since then, since June of 2024, Jordon and Bill have been inseparable, and Jordon seems to have gotten more and more involved in Bill's work, which brought us to the viral breaking point that I think we all saw on social media last week. And if you missed it, Bill Belichick has a new book coming out about his football career, and he's doing promotions and interviews to sell the book. And when he was asked in a CBS Mornings interview about how he and Jordon met, Jordon stepped in from off screen, cut off the interviewer, and said, "No, we're not talking about this." Meanwhile, Bill is sitting there like a dud in this interview. He's sitting there just like a fish, just stop it, like not saying anything. Meanwhile, Jordon is stomping over from off camera saying, "You need to stop asking about this," and she literally stops the interviewer. And the best part of it is, CBS Sunday Mornings left the entire thing in the interview. Just watch.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
This clip, it sparked this huge debate because a lot of people were saying this is so strange. Like Meghan Kelly came out and was like, this looks like elder abuse. This is like Jill Biden controlling what Biden could say when he was president. A lot of people were just saying this is so bizarre. It's his 24-year-old girlfriend. Like, how does she have this power? And to put it mildly, from my perspective, Jordon and Bill weren't really handling it well. I mean, their whole response from the jump has been that Bill only wanted to answer questions about his book. His book is only about football, only about his work. He doesn't want to answer questions about his personal life, and allegedly, he and his team, aka Jordon, had made that very clear. Hence why Jordon jumped in the middle of that interview and said, "No, we're not answering this. Stop it. Cut it off. We're not doing that." And to make matters worse, or in their mind to make things better, Jordon posted a very cryptic email on her Instagram about all of this, and the email that she posted is from Bill to his team, basically saying that he only wants the interviews to be about his book. He's only talking about football in the book. He doesn't want to talk about his personal life, so that is what she posted. And then Bill made a statement using the UNC letterhead. It was like an official Bill Belichick statement, basically saying the exact same thing. But then things got even messier because CBS Mornings shot back and said, actually, I don't know where they're getting all that information, but from our end, all of this is false. And their spokesperson said, quote, "When we agreed to speak to Mr. Belichick, it was for a wide-ranging interview. There were no preconditions or limitations to this conversation. This was confirmed repeatedly with his publisher before the interview took place and after it was completed." Now, obviously, them making that statement did not help at all, and it just made the media go crazier. Meanwhile, articles are also coming out the wazoo about Jordon, about how her net worth and her real estate portfolio skyrocketed within a year of starting to date Bill. They're talking about her involvement in his business, and the whole thing is just crazy because she's obviously his girlfriend, but apparently she is also now the head of operations over at Belichick Productions and Media, and allegedly, according to insiders, she has been causing problems with his career because of this involvement, both on the field as coach at UNC and also in media. For example, again, allegedly, she is behind HBO pulling out of doing a UNC Hard Knocks series. This headline reads, "Jordan Hudson's power play led HBO to back out of UNC Hard Knocks series Bill Belichick wanted. Hudson reportedly told HBO and NFL Films to, quote, treat her with respect." And apparently they saw that one, okay, we don't want to deal with this, so we are out. And the deal inevitably broke down because Hudson was reportedly demanding that she be an executive producer on the show. I mean, like, basically from everything we're seeing, we can infer that she has taken over or is somehow heavily involved in every single aspect of this geriatric man's life. I mean, look at her even adjusting his pants while he is trying to coach at practice.
It's a sad day for Bill Belichick. Yes, there she is adjusting his pants like a mom does to a child. I'm surprised she didn't lick her thumb and then wipe some chocolate or mustard off of his face.
Like, she is literally on the field for these practices. For the game, she's going over, she's talking with assistant coaches, she's talking with players, she's adjusting Bill's pants, and everybody in the entire football community is watching this going, what the heck happened to this man? Like, how did this happen? And seriously, she is 24 years old. Does she not have anything better to be doing? She could be furthering her education with Peterson Academy. And Peterson Academy is Jordan Peterson's online university that is open for enrollment right now. So if you are somebody who loves lifelong learning, if you're a homeschooler wanting to up your curriculum, if you're somebody who just wants to learn from the brightest professors in the world, or if you've ever benefited from Dr. Peterson's lectures, then this program is for you. Every month, Peterson Academy releases 4 new in-depth 8-hour university-level courses taught by world-renowned experts and produced to keep you fully engaged. They cover an amazing range of topics from philosophy, history, psychology, business, science, mathematics, complete with optional testing to further your understanding of each and every subject. Plus, they are continually rolling out new educational features as they grow, and there is also a built-in social community where you can connect with like-minded peers from around the world. So if you're ready to challenge your intellect, expand your horizons, and take control of your education, it is time to go to petersonacademy.com/Brett. Again, that's petersonacademy.com/Brett to join Peterson Academy today. Now, because Jordon decided to focus not on her education, but instead on pursuing Bill, again, the media firestorm has not stopped, and in addition to diving into this relationship and their business dealings, which obviously are a bit strange, Jordon's family and her dating history have been on full blast as well. And apparently she was dating a much younger man before she started dating Bill, a man of the ripe age of 64. So when she was a cheerleader at 20 years old, she was dating apparently a 64-year-old man, and it is now being reported that she comes from a very open-minded family who is fully in support of her unique dating trajectory, per the New York Post. Their article reads, Bill Belichick's much younger girlfriend, Jordon Hudson, 24, has an open-minded parent who manages a sex shop in Provincetown, Massachusetts. Lee Hudson, this guy's so crazy. Lee Hudson, 60, is the business manager at Toys of Eros, a store which sells lingerie, sex toys, erotic books, and even boasts its own sex museum, which her mother is apparently the manager of and the curator of. Lee is said to be very close to her daughter and supports her relationship with the 72-year-old former New England Patriots head coach, despite the 48-year age gap. Yeah, I'm sure she does. She's open-minded, and her daughter now has a real estate portfolio of over $9 million, so she's cheering on the sidelines. The source added that Lee keeps an open mind when it comes to people's relationships, and pointed to her role as business manager of the LGBTQ-friendly sex shop. A note on the Toys of Eros website says, quote, from serious discussions about sexual politics to consulting with our educators to downright hilarity and crazy fun, our customers make Toys of Eros all that it is. Our store is not just a shopping experience, it is a sexual education. The purpose of our sex museum is to preserve and present the history, evolution, and cultural significance of human sexuality, which obviously Jordon Hudson is exploring in her own unique way, in her own unique age group. Now, obviously, all of this is just insane, and it is a very, very weird arrangement. Everyone can see that. That's why people have been talking about it. But this story and this media firestorm, it did seem to explode all at once. And I was reading these articles and I was laughing and I was cringing. I was like, oh my God, she owns a sex shop. Everybody is saying maybe she is a high-end escort and that's how she got in with Bill. And it was hitting them from all angles. And after everything that I have seen this year and watched happen, everything that we're talking about with Justin Bieber, I had to stop and ask myself, like, okay, regardless of my feelings about how weird this is this genuine? Is this some grassroots organic scandal? Or is this being planted? Like, is this some kind of smear campaign targeted at Jordon and at Bill? And there are 2 options for this. After I considered it, I talked to my own PR guy, I was like, how would this happen? It could be UNC, because she is messing with their team and their coach, or, and this seems more plausible to me, it could be coming from Bill's adult children. And while we do not have confirmation from either of these, and I'm not saying that we do, we have started to kind of see a trickling of what Bill's family thinks of this unique situation. Now, in one video that was going viral online where a man was defending Jordon and saying that she was within her rights as Bill's publicist because even though they're dating, they do work together, Bill's daughter-in-law, Jen, stepped in and said, quote, publicists act in a professional manner and don't storm off set delaying an interview. So again, I'm not confirming that this is any kind of smear campaign. I don't have that information, but it does allude to the fact that there is trouble in Belichick paradise. And maybe this is just a perfect storm. Maybe the media has been following them long enough and now all of these stories are breaking and sources are coming forward and it is organic. But again, we all just have to acknowledge that the timing is weird and the situation is just so strange. And of course, I think it is the least surprising thing of the century that Bill Belichick's 30-plus-year-old children would be uncomfortable with their father dating a woman who is 10 to 15 years younger than them. But you know, hey, Jordon Hudson, she found her sugar daddy, she played the game, she is making the most of it, she's putting in the work as his business manager, whatever it is, and to be honest, she is far from the only person riding coattails in sports right now, which brings us to our next next story, and that would be Shedeur Sanders and the 2025 NFL Draft. Now, for a little bit of context, Shedeur Sanders is the son of Deion Sanders, and Deion Sanders played in the NFL for 14 seasons. Guys, you're getting sports prep right now. I need to have like a hat. This is all the information that I have consumed from being married to Alex and listening to him talk about this for the last month or so. But again, Deion Sanders is super famous. He is a 2-time Super Bowl champion, 8-time Pro Bowler, and he was the 1994 NFL Defensive Player of the Year. And randomly, he also played 9 seasons in the MLB. And so now, since he is retired from actively playing, he is the head coach at the University of Colorado at Boulder, where his son, Shedeur, played college football. And this year's NFL Draft started on April 24th, and Shedeur, because of his talent, because of his connection to his father, he was expected to get drafted in the first couple of rounds. I mean, they were thinking he might be first couple of picks even just because of his track record. But guys, this young man, he was not picked until the 5th round. He was the 144th pick on April 26th, 2 days after the draft started. And this was made even worse, obviously due to the hype that was surrounding him and surrounding his family. Like, he even had an entire custom draft room made for him with all of these like hype pictures of him, like, go Shedeur, you're the man, you're the king. He was dripping in diamonds. It was all of this hubbub. And so him not getting drafted until the 5th round was, of course, painfully ironic. Like, it was just painful for everyone on social media. Like, they were making fun of him, they were laughing, but everybody was like, oh my God, like, how is this kid not getting drafted? Like, at this point, it's really getting uncomfortable. Because with all the hype, like, they had cameras around him 24/7. He was live streaming the draft day in and day out, and he just kept getting passed over. But, of course, guys, because it is 2025, it can't just be painfully ironic. It has to be something else. And people immediately started saying that him not being drafted until the 5th round was actually incredibly, incredibly racist. And they started comparing him to Colin Kaepernick. Take a look at this tweet from Stephen A. Smith. He said, "Someone just texted me this message, and they are absolutely correct. Quote, this is a bad look for the NFL, not drafting Shedeur. This feels like Kaepernick-level collusion. All the hard work the NFL league office puts in to eradicate these types of perceptions of racism, only to turn around and watch as the owners look like they're colluding, messing up everything. What has been done to Shedeur will outshine everything else in this draft. We will never believe that this is just about talent evaluation ever again because it is so deeply racist." Now, guys, this is laughable. Number one, which obviously has been talked about repeatedly amidst the whole Kaepernick scandal, is that the NFL is mostly made up of black men. It is a majority black sport. The first 3 draft picks this year were black. 65% of the young men drafted in 2025 are African American. So obviously, Shedeur being drafted was not about his race. And so from there, once they were hit with the common sense, with the statistics of this not actually being racism, people switched and they said, okay, it's not just about racism. It's about the fact that Shedeur is a confident black man. And so that's why they didn't pick him, because he's not some rags to riches, humble black man that white people can feel like they're saving. So as a result, that's why they're not picking him. And that is even more racist. Like, that is literally what they were arguing. And to everyone's credit, it is kind of confusing on the surface why Shedeur was not drafted, because it's not like he's some terrible player. Like, he's actually pretty good. So I would argue that it is not just about talent. It's not just about racism, but that actually him not being drafted until the 5th round was because of his ego and maybe because of his father, Deion. For example, it could be, crazy thought, that unlike every other player, he did not participate in the combine because he thought he was just too good for that. He didn't have to do it. Maybe it was because he was doing pre-draft interviews saying, if you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't get me. Maybe it's because coaches saw that while he was playing and practicing with the first round picks, he was focusing most of his time on vlogging and live streaming the entire event, while people like Cam Ward were saying, no, I'm here to play football. I actually don't care about your vlog. I'm going to focus on the game that I'm here to play. Shedeur Sanders was off like trying to be viral. Maybe it's because his father, Deion Sanders, was doing interviews talking about who he would not allow his son to play for. He literally said that. Take a listen.
Have you told him privately who you would like for him to play for?
It's not like that.
Okay.
Like, it's not like who I would like for him to play for.
It's better.
A couple teams that I won't allow him to play for. So it's not like that.
Okay, and the most insane thing to me is that everyone in the audience is like, oh yeah, absolutely, that is totally in your right as a father to tell your kid who he's not allowed to play for in the NFL. I mean, it's ridiculous. And the best part of that is that him saying that came on the heels of another comment that he made in that interview saying, I'm not a helicopter parent. Yeah, we don't do that in our household. He's a man. He can go do whatever he wants. And then 30 seconds later, he's like, no, he's not allowed to play for certain teams.
And we ain't in no helicopter. Yeah.
So
Yeah, we
Giants-
definitely ain't no helicopter.
So that certainly could have contributed to it. Maybe it was also how Deion was saying that wherever Shedeur got drafted, he was going to fly into town, he was going to take meetings with the owners and the coaches to tell them his expectations of how things were going to be run with his son. But hey, you know, maybe this is just too much common sense. I'm not even a sports fan. Maybe it's that Shedeur just eats too many foods with seed oils in them. Couldn't be me, which is why I love masa chips. Now, I don't think this is news to anyone watching this video, but America has gotten sicker, and one of the big reasons is very simple. We stopped eating real food. Seed oils like canola and soybean oil, which barely existed 50 years ago, now make up around 20% of the average American's calories, and many believe that they are making us sicker than ever. And that is why masa chips are made differently. They're made the way food should be, with just 3 ingredients: organic nixtamalized corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow, which of course you guys know is my favorite. And they don't just avoid all the bad stuff, but they taste incredible too. These seriously are our favorite chips. We keep them in stock all the time in our house. I use them in my ground beef bowls that you guys see on my Instagram. They're amazing. I love them, and I know that you guys will too. Because masa chips have the perfect crunch, a rich, satisfying flavor, and they taste the way a tortilla chip was meant to taste. So if you're ready to make the switch, go to masachips.com/Brett and use code Brett for 25% off your first order. Again, that is masachips.com/Brett. Use code Brett for that discount. This is the best place to buy them. Again, that's masachips.com/Brett, code Brett at checkout. And of course, our health is not the only thing that is on shaky ground. Even though Donald Trump is working on it, prices are stuck at a really high level, and it seems like nothing is affordable anymore. And it's no wonder that many are relying on credit cards to cover the gaps. Credit card debt is skyrocketing, and it's leaving a lot of people stressed out. And this is where American financing comes into play. If you are a homeowner, I want you to know that you do not have to face this uncertainty alone. My friends over at American Financing can help you take control. They can help you access the equity in your home to help you pay down that high interest credit card debt, giving you peace of mind and real savings. And on average, their customers are saving $800 a month. Plus, they may close your loan in as little as 10 days. So don't let the chaos of the economy get the best of you. Call American Financing now. It costs you literally nothing to get started, and you may delay 2 mortgage payments, giving you a cushion in this uncertain time. Just go to americanfinancing.net/Brett, or you can call 800-852-2010. Again, that is 800-852-2010 or americanfinancing.net/Brett. But back to the story. The point is that the deal that Deion and Shedeur were offering seems like obviously it was going to come with a ton of baggage and headache for whoever drafted him. So I don't think anybody was like chomping at the bit to give this guy an amazing deal. But again, he's not a bad player. Like, this young man was not going to go undrafted. I just think maybe people thought, okay, we kind of need to like knock him down a peg and teach him a lesson. And so finally in the 5th round, 144th pick, after he learned his lesson, he got drafted by the Cleveland Browns, who, to their credit, made it very clear that he needed to work hard and actually earn his place on their team. Take a listen.
Hey, listen, you gotta come in, you gotta work hard, you gotta earn your job, earn your team. Let's get ready to go to work and improve all things we'll pass on the phone.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And so while maybe this entire thing wasn't organic, maybe a bunch of teams came together and said, okay, we're not going to draft him, we need to teach him a lesson, it obviously was not racism. That is a ridiculous argument, and also it seems like a good lesson. A lesson that multiple other young players in modern sports and their fathers are learning right now, which takes us into a story that I actually covered on The Scroll just a couple of weeks ago, and that would be the story of the Tennessee quarterback and his father who blew up his $2.5 million deal. And that young man is named Nico Lamaleava, which hopefully I am not butchering. I have listened to pronunciations of his name like 5 times in preparation.
I'll make it simple. Here it is. Nico Lamaleava. Say it with me. Nico Lamaleava.
But this is a story that Alex has been talking about for weeks in our household, because obviously he's a Vol. He went to Tennessee. Nico had an incredible deal at Tennessee. He was getting paid $2.4 million a year to be their quarterback. And on the tail end of this past season, he and his father decided that actually he could be doing better. So he did something that has never been done in the NCAA before. He decided to do an NFL-style holdout, which basically is a strategy where a player will say, I'm not going to show up to practices, I'm not going to show up until you give me more money. But that was a game that Tennessee did not want to play, and they were not happy with this. They also found out through other coaches around the country that Nico and his family were talking to other teams trying to see if they could get more money so that he could leave Tennessee. And so in hearing that, Tennessee and their head coach said, okay, fine, you're done. Go find more money. Go see if you can do better because no one is bigger than the power T, which basically everyone at Tennessee was so happy about. They were like, yes, let's drop him. This is like so ridiculous. And so at that point, Nico had been kicked off of Tennessee. He was basically a college free agent. He had to enter into the transfer portal to see if any of these other teams that he had been talking to would pick him up. And basically everyone said, oh, actually, you seem kind of like a mess. Like you and your dad, you're asking for all this money. I don't really know if we want to touch that. And so everybody shut the door. They said, nope, we don't want to pay you to come here. Until finally, like weeks later, UCLA offered him a $1 million deal, which is still crazy. That is still an insane amount of money for a college student to be making, but that was the only deal he got. And so Nico literally went from $2.4 million a year to $1 million a year when he was trying to get $4 million a year. And all of this was motivated by his dad, who apparently runs most of his career decisions, runs most of his business. And so like I said in my newsletter, this should be a huge wake-up call for Nico to like really think critically about the influence of your parents. And obviously you love your parents, you don't want to push back against them, but maybe your dad is clouded by emotions, clouded by what he wants for you, and he's not actually giving you the best advice. But still, who your dad is doesn't impact how you play and the public's perception of you. Like truly, to the parents in these situations, I think maybe you need to like sit down and shut up for a little bit. And I would give the same advice to Meghan Markle because she also seems like she just cannot stop talking no matter what people tell her. Now, Meghan, just last week, this was probably my favorite story of the week, she did her first long-form sit-down podcast interview. And what do you know, guys? It backfired. Like, I almost feel bad covering this because it's like, oh my God, like, how many media firestorms can this woman find herself in? But she does it to herself. And I mean, guys, it backfired so badly. Just like her Netflix show, just like her first podcast with Spotify, just like her most recent podcast utterly backfired. Here's a headline about that. We haven't talked about this on the show, but she started a new podcast called Confessions of a Female Founder, which is basically her interviewing her founder friends as she's on her founder journey for her new lifestyle brand. Everybody hates it. New York Post wrote, Meghan Markle's new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, hit with scathing reviews from critics. Quote, it is stomach turning. And basically, there's nothing in that podcast that she's hosting that has anything of substance, and there was nothing in this sit-down interview that she did with her friend that had anything of substance, and yet she was crying, she was talking about full-body chills the entire time. It was just a whole emotional thing, and people cannot stop making fun of her for it. Now, my personal favorite moments from that interview were where she was talking about her relationship with Harry, and they call each other H and M, and it's all like this cute thing, and she was like, oh, H, that man, he just loves me so much. She gave this entire like tirade about how much Harry loves her and how amazing their family is. She did not make one comment about how much she loves her husband or what she does for him or what she contributes to their family. It was just like, he is so obsessed with me. It is so amazing. It was very, very odd, and everybody caught on to that. She also talks about parenting their two children and basically insinuates that she is the first woman to ever have to balance having a career and making it to school drop-off. It's like this whole dramatic thing. It's like, I'm sorry, you're not going to Mars. You're dropping your kids off to daycare and first grade. It's really not that big of a deal. And then, of course, the real crux of the interview was about her new brand, As Ever, which is driven by her love of hosting and hospitality, which also took up a big portion of the interview. And in that conversation, now we're getting to my favorite part of this entire story, in that conversation about As Ever, she showed a basket that she had sent to the host of the podcast as a thank you for allowing her to come on, which sparked a whole other media firestorm. Now, I want you to look at this. She sent a little basket, and here you can kind of zoom in here, and it says, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. Guys, this is not just something that I found online. This is not something that was AI'd or Photoshopped. This screenshot is from the podcast interview that was uploaded on YouTube. And of course, you might be looking at this photo and saying, Brett, why is this even relevant? It is a gift basket with a card. Who cares? Okay, I care. The internet cares because she was caught red-handed using Her Royal Highness. That is a title that was stripped from her when she and Harry made their whole racism debacle and left the UK, left their royal duties, and moved to the US to bug all of us for the last couple of years. This is something that she is not allowed to use. And this also comes on the heels of her and Harry facing a ton of scrutiny over the fact that they just used Duke and Duchess of Sussex, when really they're not even supposed to be doing that, but they use it in all of their promotion and the creation of As Ever and their production company. And so now, to top it all off, she is literally using HRH in private, which is just even weirder. A source close to Meghan says that Harry and Meghan retain their HRH titles, however, by agreement with the royal family, they do not use them for commercial purposes. While they do not publicly use HRH, this was a personal gift and their titles remain. Guys, I just want you to think about how weird this is. So they are not allowed to use Her Royal Highness, His Royal Highness in public due to their agreement with the royal family. You can see this is from a screenshot from the royal family's website. The Sussexes will not use their HRH titles as they are no longer working members of the royal family. However, according to this source and according to this photo that we saw that is not photoshopped, that is literally from the podcast interview, she's using it in private with her friends. That's even weirder than if they were still trying to milk the titles in public. She is sending her friend, her close friend, a gift basket, signing it, Her Royal Highness. Like, okay, that is just like all the confirmation that I need that this woman is just obsessed with being a royal, that is all this was all about. That she's angry that she screwed the pooch by claiming racism and basically getting kicked out of the family because no one was willing to put up with their bullshit and bend a knee to her insane whims. And so now, as Meghan is trying to salvage what is remaining of her brand with this TV show, with the podcast, with the lifestyle brand, she just can't give up the HRH titles that quickly. Like, this is literally what she has always wanted. And I mean that quite literally. Because according to Megyn Kelly, Meghan used to literally have a photo of Prince Harry on her vision board. Take a listen.
She denied being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it.
Before they met?
Yes. And she wants to
That's
pretend.
impressive. You got to admit
Thank
that
you.
is impressive.
She nailed it. Yeah.
Because a lot of people probably did that.
It was like shooting fish in a barrel. With all that self-help talk, he was no match for her.
I mean, guys, this episode felt so random to me. I had all of these insane stories, but I feel like actually there's some great through lines. There are women that are gold diggers and they know exactly what they want. They're going to go out and get it. Jordon Hudson is going to go out and get Bill Belichick no matter what happens to her. Meghan Markle is going to get Prince Harry, and we have racism from Meghan Markle, from Deion Sanders. That is basically how all of this is tying together, and it's actually kind of worked out perfectly. And then, of course, we have the other through line of people thinking that they are far more important than they actually are. And speaking of that, we simply cannot conclude this episode without talking about the congressman who is making a name for himself purely by virtue signaling an impeachment of Trump. Now, guys, I want you to meet a man named Shri Thanedar. Hopefully I am saying his name correctly, but this is the Michigan congressman who you've probably been seeing all over your social media, and no, you are not seeing screenshots from a Borat skit or an SNL skit. This is somebody who literally was elected by the American people to represent us. And he is spending all of his time focusing on trying to impeach Donald Trump. And this is how he announced that he is filing those articles of impeachment. Just take a listen.
This is Congressman Shri Thanedar. Donald Trump has already done real damage to our democracy, but defying a unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, that has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump.
Guys, I have no words. I genuinely, there's so much I would like to say, and yet so much that I think can go unsaid based on the memes that we have seen on the internet. This is an American congressman. And this entire story is so crazy to me because Congress was actually just on a huge break. I think they had a couple of weeks off and they came back from their break to really hit all of the issues that are so important to us, the American people. Number one, we have real life Borat trying to impeach Trump. I mean, like, how many times has he been impeached at this rate? I think this is like the 7th time they've tried to impeach him. We also have other members of Congress that are debating bills to encourage musical tourism in the United States. We also have other members of Congress arguing over whether they should award congressional gold medals to the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team. 1980, people! And this is what our current Congress is arguing. Like, what are we doing? This is why I say politics is reality TV. Like, it's not serious. Nothing about this is serious. It is so ridiculous. But guys, back to Mr. Shri. This story is actually a lot bigger than just ridiculous foreign-born representatives wasting our tax dollars with virtue signaling impeachment, because as Congressman Shri was trying to make a name for himself politically using this impeachment, people quickly dug into his past and found his history that he was probably hoping that people would forget, or maybe that would be covered up by everything he was now doing politically, and that would all be surrounding the fact that he made his name and he made his money in Big Pharma. But in 2010, the company that he founded, that he owned, went bankrupt. And over 100 test animals were left in the facility to die. Like, guys, I just want you to think about how absurd this is. This is the man who got elected to help run our country. And his company went bankrupt, and he left over 100 animals to die. Like, staff literally had to break into the facility after it had closed just to feed the animals to keep them alive. Here's a headline about that. I'm not just making this up. Over 100 dogs and monkeys were rescued from Michigan Democrats' shuttered company. About 170 dogs and monkeys were rescued in 2010 from an abandoned pharmaceutical testing lab owned by Shri Thanedar, a Michigan Democratic gubernatorial candidate currently leading in the polls. He had to shutter the New Jersey testing facility after its parent company, which he owned, went bankrupt in 2010. And according to the New York Post, all of this came out after local animal rights activists were alerted to the situation and went in to rescue the 118 beagles and 55 long-tailed macaque monkeys that were left behind by this man, who Americans later elected to represent them. And I think that this story illuminates a couple things. Number one, how bad he is at business, so why would I trust him to manage my tax dollars or anything in our country? And number two, and most importantly, what kind of person he is. And he has the gall to sit in front of a camera and say, we're going to impeach Donald Trump because he's so awful. Sir, you left 170 animals to die. I really don't care about your virtue signaling and wanting to impeach Trump. Thank you very much. So guys, after all of that chaos, I hope you can take a big deep breath and decompress because that was all crazy. But what I hope you take away from this episode is that number one, not everything is racist. Also, gold diggers are getting their bags one way or another. They're also getting their royal titles. And most importantly, humility and morality and self-awareness are key. In every single situation, in every industry, a lack of humility will follow you, it will tank you, so do not be like any of the people that we talked about in this story. Now, one final note that I want to leave you with, since we are now all caught up on the Nepo babies and the gold diggers and her royal pain in my ass, I want to leave you with one final story before our next Justin Bieber episode comes out on Thursday. And that would be the newfound connection between Selena Gomez, Benny Blanco, and good old Scooter Braun. Now, I want you to just take a look at this clip that somebody posted from Stagecoach last weekend. So what you're looking at is Benny Blanco, that is Selena Gomez's fiance, and that right there who just turned around is Scooter Braun. And then in this clip right here, the guy right in front of us is also Scooter Braun, hanging out with Benny Blanco, canoodling with Selena Gomez. And so these videos quickly went viral on X, and everybody is now trying to piece together this insane situation, and there's a lot kind of going on here. People are wondering, and I have no context or information about this, but they're wondering, are Selena and Benny somehow involved in this PR firestorm against Justin? Like, is Scooter somehow involved with her music? Did they time it with everything going on with Justin? Again, I have no confirmation, but that is now what the internet is speculating. And they're also now looking at Selena Gomez and saying, what kind of friend are you? Because remember, Scooter Braun is the man that allegedly ruined Taylor Swift's life, who sold her music out from under her, making it so that she had to re-record all of her albums just so that she could own all of her own records. And Selena Gomez is Taylor Swift's best friend. Her ride or die best friend of 15 plus years, and now this weekend she is randomly hanging out with the man who hurt Taylor Swift. So there are a lot of questions people have, a lot of rumors that are running around online, a lot of connections that are being made. It's kind of conspiratorial at this point, but I just want you to have that in your mind as we prep for Thursday's episode.
Enjoy your food.
Thanks, you too. Uh-oh, that was awkward. Normally, this sort of thing would haunt me for 3 to 5 business days, maybe even for life. But I've never been more comfortable because I'm wearing my Cozy Earth pajamas. No matter how uncomfortable a situation may seem, nothing competes with the comfort of pajamas from Cozy Earth. Go to CozyEarth.com and use code Brett for 40% off your order today. And don't forget, Mother's Day is coming up. Buy a pair for your mom if you know what's good for you.